All right.
Oh, okay. We're live now.
We're
What is up, everybody? It is Will and Mark here from Crazy Laser Dad and Big Blue Laser Designs with the Next Level Laser Conference. And we are joined by, still learning,
Yep.
Danny Martinez, president of EMP Corporation and Aeon Laser USA. We're going to give you guys a couple minutes to jump on here. Please let us know you're here, where you're watching us from, and what the weather's like. That's kind of our go-to. So
It is.
give it a couple minutes. How's the weather out there in Melbourne, Florida, Danny?
Oh, it's great. Yeah, it's a nice day. It's always pretty nice here. You know, we had a little front come in, and so it's kind of cool. Nice little breeze.
Nice.
It's Florida. There's palm trees.
Great.
It's sunny.
I know that Will is having another worldwide flood there. I think it's a lot of rain today, right? What's going on there?
Yeah, it's 46 and rainy.
Oh.
Like it's been nice the last few days. It just opened up today, so it's rainy. I'm in a hoodie. It's cold in my warehouse, and
Nice.
I told Mark behind the scenes, I said, I am one to turn my AC on 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
I don't like to get hot, but when it's cold, I refuse to turn on a heater. I just wear more clothes. and it bulked me up a little bit. So how's your weather out there, Mark?
Man, it is 68 and sunny. It is just perfect. It is fantastic. If I could do this outside, I would totally do this outside. It's great.
I know.
Hey, let's say hi to some of the people that we got in our chat there. Will, who do you see there?
Oh, I see Tabitha here. What's up, Tabitha? She's right up the block from me. Pam from College Station, Texas. Maria's here from North Carolina. Cheyenne's here from Arkansas, your neighbor. Woo pig.
Yep.
Sharon from Tulsa, right down the block from you, right, Mark?
Wasso, actually, but yes. Yeah.
It's cold in North Carolina, apparently. Victor's here. What's up, Victor? He says it's really nice down in San Diego, finally. We've just had rain in California, a ton this year.
Yeah, right. We got Deidre Edwards was our first one here. So Deidre, thanks for joining us on. She's watching on YouTube, so that's cool. And thank you, Tabitha. Yep.
Whoops, it's someone's birthday.
It is somebody's birthday. I also see Maria. I'm so sorry. This is bad. My 55-year-old eyes today. Maria is in North Carolina, Burr Cold. Yep.
Christine from Alabama. Roll Tide. Roll Tide.
Ouch, man. I'm a Wolverine here, so that kind of hurts just a little bit, man. Ouch.
I cater to the audience, okay?
Right,
the next one can be Auburn, and I'm going to be like, go Auburn. I don't know.
Right. I see Alicia here. Is that our Alicia?
That sounds like it. Yeah.
Yep. That's very good. Excellent. All right. We'll give them another minute or so to get here, and we'll kind of jump into our content here. This is going to be a great conversation with Danny. I have not got a chance to spend a whole lot of time with you, so this is really great for me. So I really, man, thank you. I know that this is, I know your time is valuable. So we're going to try to take really good care of you and talk a little bit about your company, a little bit about you, get to know you a little better. And that'll be a lot of fun. What is Tabitha saying? Yes, let's just put, Danny, before I purchased my Mira 7, I asked if it replaced 2 Glowforges and my 80-watt Omtech. I confirm that it does. Nice.
Right on.
That's great.
Yeah. I think.
Yep. I remember when she got it, when she's like, hey, if you know anyone who wants to buy all these lasers, I don't need all 3 of these anymore. I have the workhorse now. So
that's great.
Wow.
That's awesome. All right. Well, Will, why don't you kick it off here and let's get to know Danny a little better, and I'll jump in as we go along here.
Yeah. So, we've met a few times, we've talked, we've chatted, and we love your company. But if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and where you started with this whole laser journey, I think people would really love to hear some of that story.
Yeah. How much time do we have?
You go for it, man.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm Danny Martinez. I'm a proud husband and father of 2 beautiful little crazy children, and about 40 or so team members.
That's great.
And their families. So I consider myself kind of a dad to them all in some way or another. Everyone's like family right now. So, it's I'm always torn between the 2 worlds there. I'm always going, trying to balance, home life and work life at the same time. But yeah, I started Engraving Machines Plus. We call it EMP Corp now because it's so much easier to say and spell.
Yeah.
I started that maybe 16 years ago.
Wow.
And it was a startup like any other. I had $200. I had just gotten fired from my job. I got one person to quit along with me, and him and I started up Engraving Machines Plus. And funny enough, Alicia at the time, she was working for a company called Umark USA. And the company I worked for, the one I got fired from, we used to sell Umark machines. So one of our first calls was to Alicia. And it was like, hey, can we be a Umark dealer? And she made it happen. I think within the first week, Alicia sent me a lead. First lead we ever got. It was a guy in Orlando, a jewelry store. And they spent like 20 grand. They bought 2 machines from us.
That's great.
I paid for Steven and I's, equivalent of a salary for a whole month. So, we just came right out of the gate thanks to Alicia. She pushed the snowball 16 years ago.
That's great.
And that got us going, and it was successful ever since. Shortly after, my partner Stephen McLaughlin, he comes to all the parties, but he got an offer to be an air marshal, and he really wanted to do that. So the company was still young. He went and did his thing. I retained the entire portion of the company that he owned, so I became sole owner of it. At the time, him and I were sharing a duplex, so he moved out of the duplex. I took over his half of it. That became headquarters.
Yep.
And it just went from there upwards. And fast forward 4 years ago, I would say maybe 5, in 2019, I came across Aeon after turning over every stone. I was looking for a laser company. We were really into just rotary engravers, the end mills and the diamond gravers, and that's all I did for a decade. So I always needed a laser. I mean, and I tried with everybody, but it was, the model that I had selling online, it was frowned upon in the laser world. These guys, the big companies, they were old school. They didn't want anything to do with it. They wanted you to be the local guy that showed up and set every machine up. So I had a hard time getting that door open. But I finally did. And I worked with a couple of different laser brands before I came across Aeon. And then that was the second snowball. It was literally, that union with Aeon, finding what I thought was, a diamond in the rough, as far as, a laser goes. The minute I saw it, I was like, this is different. This looks like the really expensive stuff that no one can afford. So that was actually a really interesting story too. Ended up in ISA 2019, and it was myself, Jason Dory from Lightburn.
Yep.
And Simon and Wen, the owners and operators of Aeon China. We ended up in a hotel lobby. And I needed to use Jason's computer for some reason. Something was wrong with mine. I had a whole pitch deck lined up, and I had to hop on a plane. It was like I flew into Vegas just for like 6 hours to pitch Simon and Wen on why they should give me exclusive rights to the entire U.S. And it was thankfully I had Jason next to me because he really helped out. At that time, Lightburn was also snowballing. And people were coming at Jason and asking him for exclusivity too. They were like, we want to be the exclusive distributor of Lightburn.
Wow.
So it was really helpful, and at one point, Jason's like, see, Danny's kind of asking you guys what you guys are asking of me. And he kind of helped steal that deal for us. But it was, ever since then, I mean, COVID happened. We went into lockdown mode. My kids were born, so I stayed in that mode. And Alicia lost her factory because of COVID. So, she was like, what do I do? And I was like, well, come sell lasers with me. So, the rest is history. Since that day, we haven't been able to keep up. Essentially.
I love so much that story, man, especially back to the duplex, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I obviously you're a good example. All of us are in different ways. Those of us who are entrepreneurs, people may meet us today and think that this is where we've always been. And that's not true at all, right? Like you were back in the duplex, right? And I've worked out from my couch.
Yeah.
I haven't always had an office. My office was my living room, right? So I love those kind of stories. I think a lot of people can relate to that. Either they've walked that journey themselves, or they're on the Duplex end of the journey, right?
Yeah, and those were some of the most fondest memories I ever had, was those early years where my rent was $800 and my duplex was on A1A on the beach. So I mean, I could run to the ocean every morning, or go surf on my lunch breaks, or do whatever. It was a really interesting time because if I sold one Roland, I'd make $1,000, and I was like, that covered my rent.
Yeah.
So it was a super successful time for me, and I was the only person in the company for the first 10 years.
Wow.
It wasn't until around 2000. Gosh, yeah, I think I hired my first person like 2014, but it was just a 2 or 3 man show up until Aeon. And then in 2020 is during COVID is when we went from that small handful of people to 30 something.
Wow.
Yeah, it happened very, very quickly.
I'm probably going to get all of this out of order, but I'm just shooting this as it comes to my mind. Your current facility, how long have you been there?
About 2 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And before that was somewhere else, I guess. I don't know the history.
Yeah. And we still have the other facility. We're actually turning that into our showroom. That's where the Aeon experience is going to live. We can talk about that too, but yeah,
Sure.
that still exists. It's almost done, but we were there for, I think, about 6 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the story is inspiring, right? Because we look at some of these bigger companies like Aeon Laser, and we're like, oh, they're just this big company, not knowing that they started where all of us started, right?
Yeah.
You're relatable. It's like, oh, I can do that, right? If they've said they've experienced the same struggles that we experience trying to get our crafting business and our laser engraving business off the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's part of the drive. And a lot of times what sets us apart is because we're still grounded. We didn't get overwhelmed by 50 years of corporate activity and lose touch of where we came from. So whenever I talk to my staff, it's still on a very personal level. And it's still one of these things where I'll never ask anyone in the company to do anything that I wouldn't do myself personally.
Yeah.
If it needs getting done, I'm all for it. But relating to the customers, especially, it's just, I know what it's like to try to create something on your own. And back then, I mean, it was very few and far between. If you said you were an entrepreneur to somebody, that was code for I'm unemployed.
Right. Which I will say, at times, it definitely felt like that for sure.
Seriously, I remember going on a date. It's like, well, what do you do? Oh, I'm an entrepreneur. I do a little bit of everything. And it was like this, am I paying for dinner? And I was like, no.
Right.
But
that's great. Well,
that's I think that's kind of where a lot of the drive still comes from, is because I got to tell you, after 10 years the first 10 years was business to business.
Yeah.
And that kind of lost its luster. I didn't really have, an emotional connection to the company after a decade. It was nice because, I was well off. And I forgot what it was like to worry about bills.
Yeah.
And that was enough for me. I don't require much personally. But it was just that I had to kind of find something deeper, I guess, to, spend another 10 years doing.
Well, one of the things that I noticed from my very first interaction with your company was the culture. And I'd love to hear just some of your thoughts on that, because I know that culture never happens by accident.
Right.
Or at least, I'm sorry, a culture happens by accident, but the one you want doesn't always happen by accident.
That's right.
Right? And I've noticed just the family feel, and I really appreciate that. And I know that does not happen in a vacuum. It happens on purpose. And I don't know if you have any thoughts you want to share about that, just of how that's happened and what that's taken to get that and to keep that.
It's funny. I can reference a conversation I had at the holiday party this year. Every year we do the big, holiday party.
Yeah.
This year, I had one person pull me aside and he goes, and this is a business owner, and he pulled me aside and he said, every year I come here and I try to figure this out, because he's trying to, he in his head, he's like, and he tells me, he's like, I have to pay my staff to come to my Christmas party. And then they complain that they have to pay for drinks. So then I pay for their drinks. And then they're just throwing up all over the place because they can't handle their alcohol. And it's like this entire shit show. And he's like, I come here every year, and what is it? How are you doing it? And I remember I looked over, I think it was Alicia standing next to me, and I was like, we both said at the same time, we're like, it's just real. It's like we're not trying to do anything, but we genuinely happy to be here. And we try to spread it out as much as we can. We like working with partners. I love breaking bread with other people. I love the community, and to me, that's part of it is, this is a team effort, and it goes across the board with the customers as well. It's if our customers don't succeed, then to me, we failed them. So it's kind of like where a lot of companies might get you a laser and then that's the end of your transaction. For me, that's where ours begins. It's like day one, you get your laser. It's like, you have to make this work. You probably sunk a good portion of your savings into it, or, you put off paying for something you probably should have because you're like, I'm going to roll this into a laser and make the money. It's kind of how I think. Yeah. But yeah, it's, I think that's kind of what it is we're invested in other people's success and in their livelihood. And it's one hand washes the other. Yeah. And it's still very apparent, without our customers, there's no us, and vice versa. And so we try to keep that, that communion going.
I love it. Because again, as a customer myself, the laser, high quality, great laser. I can't say enough about that. That's great. So if I could say, and not but, and the support is every bit as good. I can't say better. I don't know how to compare those two, but just the support that I've gotten over the last couple of years of me I have a Mira 9, which I love, use it every day. It's fantastic. The only problems I ever had were user error. And without exception, I was treated with not only respect, but something beyond that. Just it felt like a family. Like my friend was helping me. And I remember in my first couple of weeks, I had a couple of, just looking back, just dumb things that I did that I thought, oh, this thing is broke. It wasn't broke. It was never broke. It was me. But I got a FaceTime call from support on a Sunday, which was incredible. Not expected at all. In fact, if someone would have waited till Monday, it wouldn't have even got on my radar. I was like, totally. And I remember getting a FaceTime call, and I'm so sorry, I don't remember who it was. But it's just because it's been a couple of years, but it was just fantastic. And just a regular everyday person talking to me like another person. I wasn't talked down to. I was taking care of me as a friend. And I was like, man, this is different. And it shouldn't be different, but it is. And I thought that was really cool. And I will tell you, those things don't happen by accident. You and your leadership sets the tone. And that's the and you may say you don't really do anything to make it happen, but you do. I mean,
they follow suit. And I think you've definitely, like, one thing that stood out to me is the people that you bring on board, right, as part of your team, as part of your leadership, all the way down to an accounting team that when I'm asking questions, that the service, the level of service and the level of care that the people show definitely comes through. So investing in the people, getting the right culture, you're getting the right attitude, and then allowing them to do their jobs. I think that's a big thing with leadership is you've done a really great job of, okay, this person is working with this. And when I have contacts with that person, they're given the power and the ability to make things happen, right? They're not like, oh, I need to go talk to so-and-so and run this all the way up. they've been empowered to say, hey,
Yeah.
we're just going to take care of our customer. We're going to take care of our partners. And that has definitely been something that stood out to me.
Yeah, I love it, man. So but we're both very thankful. So thank you for the culture that you've not worked on, but yes, you have. Yeah, absolutely.
That part of it for sure. Yeah, it's definitely, you got to lead by example.
Yeah.
It was myself or Lek, or whoever doing those Sunday calls for the longest time.
Yeah.
Or troubleshooting at night, and that's just like I was saying, we don't ask anyone to do anything that we wouldn't or haven't done ourselves. I've done every job in the company. I've built crates. I've built machines. In the beginning, it was me.
Yeah.
And then so we created all of that, and so you got to put the right people in place, and you got to trust them, because it's if you're the coach and you're on the sideline and it's game day, like that's it. Like if the first play starts and they look over to you for direction, it's like you've totally failed your team.
Yeah.
Like they've got to go out there and they've got to perform, and you can shout instructions here and there, but you really got to give them free range to see what they can do.
So in the length of time you've done this, because you've done it for a long time, what is something that maybe we wouldn't have any idea that Danny really likes to do that is maybe not on anybody's radar? Like I know for me, as a graphic designer, there's certain things that I enjoy designing that nobody would guess that I actually like. They just assume it's this, this, and this, and they find out, oh, that's something weird that he actually enjoys. It doesn't make a bunch of money, but it's something I like. Is there anything in your job, your day-to-day, your leadership role that you actually kind of dig that maybe nobody knows? What makes Danny happy that maybe nobody knows about?
Well, here's a little known fact. My day-to-day is a father first. I work from home, and I never went back to work after COVID. So since 2020, since my first son was born, he just turned 4. So
okay.
last 4 years, I've been doing this remotely and allowing the team to take charge and build itself. I'm heavily involved. I work every day and I work every night, but I do so at the same time as being there and raising my family. So that's probably something that I'll let people know that I don't even have an office at this. We have a 22,000 square foot building. My office is kind of there, but the stairs that lead to it aren't completed. And then the deck is missing a few things. And then when you get in the office, there's no desk. There's nothing. I've never sat in there. And this year, that's my goal. My goal is to have an office and to start spending, more time there. But little known fact. I'm a stay-at-home dad.
That's cool. Man, that's great. I love it. Both of us are dads also, so we get that. Mine are a little bit older than than yours. Not older than you. I don't.
Older than you. Whoa.
I don't think so. But I mean, you're every bit of 29. I'm guessing. So yeah.
That's right. You nailed it.
That's right. Yeah, that's great though. Yeah, we get the dad thing. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was always my goal. I had kids late in life. I started the company first, and that was my priority. And part of that was because in my head, I wanted to just not be, a parent that was absent.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't have that option. And my drive has always been about options. It hasn't been about how much money can I make. It's how many walls can I tear down? And I'm fortunate enough to be in that situation. And like you said, it comes down to having a great team that you can count on to, follow through.
That's great. Well, I one of the many things I think about when I think about the culture of a company, you guys, like everybody, you have a product that you sell, but I can tell that the success of your company, the success of your customers is really important. And I really appreciate that a lot. Just kind of looking at how you can support your customer. Like you said earlier, you can just sell them a laser and move on. And that's a legitimate business. People can do that. That's great.
Yeah.
But you guys clearly invest beyond that. And, checking on people, giving us different resources. Heck, I mean, just running a Facebook group alone, don't even mention anything else. A Facebook group alone can be a bunch of work, right?
Oh, yeah.
And of course, there's obviously way more to do in a company than running a Facebook group, but that alone takes somebody a lot of hours a day to do that. I know.
Yeah, absolutely.
In fact, let me see. Shirley says you have a great team. I enjoy my Mira 7 and have a Fiber Laser 30 with a cover on order. Do you know? Oh, sorry, I didn't read this before I put it on the screen. I should always read before I put it on there. Do you know if the new add-on light exhaust will fit under the cover? Wow, let's. I don't know. I'm not even sure what that means.
Yeah, well, we're very innovative, and fiber lasers don't have lights. They don't come with fans, so we created an auxiliary kit that plugs into our fibers.
Okay.
And it gives you a built-in fan and a nice task light. And she's wondering if it fits underneath the cover. Okay. To answer your question, we haven't tried it yet. So we'll help you through it. I think the biggest thing we'll run into is whether or not the hole in your cover is the same size as your exhaust hose. That's might have to make that a little bigger. It's definitely on the roster, but we've got all these exciting new product launches coming up. Some of these little details have kind of put on the back burner here, but I'm fairly certain it'll work. A few people have been asking this week, and that's my biggest concern is I don't think the hole is going to be the right size. But good news is you've got a fiber laser, so if you had to make a hole, it might take a while. But I'll tell you a funny story. I once sold 6 fiber lasers to a company, and they all came with fume extractors. And when I got them all, the hole was too small. So I literally took one fiber laser and lasered holes in the back of the other fiber laser to get the exhaust hose through there. So everyone thought it was crazy, but it took a while. But it was a beautiful, beautiful hole. You couldn't tell it wasn't stock. And we delivered all of those machines in time as promised.
That's awesome. Will, shoot that one. That's a good question that Anthony has the comment.
Yeah. Let's share this here. So, yep, the support is what sold me, and I'm new and can be annoying when frustrated, and the Aeon team was super kind and helpful. Thank you. You're yeah, definitely. I've seen nothing but amazing help from them, from your entire team, and it's quick response. I had a couple issues with my Aeon lasers, and I have 4 of them, and I've had calls on Sundays, calls 6 o'clock in the morning. Whenever I was best suited my crazy schedule, they're like, we'll make it work. And
that's right.
It got me back up and running. And when I tell people, when you look at the difference between waiting a week or waiting 15 minutes, that's just time is money.
Yeah.
And you guys definitely understand that and make sure that we're back up making money as quickly as possible. Really cool. I don't know if everyone knows, but when we're getting back to the laser part of it, like how many lasers do you guys actually have in your lineup
in terms of models?
Models. Yeah.
In the Aeon lineup, we've got 6. Okay. So we've got 3 Miras, the 5, 7, and 9, and then 3 Novas, the 10, 14, and 16. And that's the main one. And our fibers, the markers, gosh, I lost count. I think we got 4 now. Okay. We've got from 30 to 100 watts. So, and I got to tell you, there's a bunch of other ones. We've got our UV laser, but we haven't had a chance to launch it, so it's kind of been sitting around. We've got some CO2 galvos, same thing that we're like, oh, we got to launch this already. It's like, we have to kind of pick our battles, and fiber cutters as well. So, we're you've seen our shop. Half of it is fabrication and large industrial equipment. And we've got our own line of large fiber cutting, like metal cutting machines. And so, there's probably a dozen of those that, we don't really talk about because it's a different world. Aeon, a lot of people don't realize Aeon's just one facet of EMP. EMP is what powers Aeon. But Aeon, for us is one line. It's our main one. It took off and it snowballed. It took our attention for a while. But there's a lot more, beneath the surface there for EMP. But absolutely, it's you've got your choice, and now we've got the new Redline series coming out.
We have some people actually commenting on it. They're like, "Ooh, and the Redline, Redline." All right, here we go.
And of course, but there's, Will Louie needs it. That's great.
So, yeah, this is actually a good this would be a good transition to kind of talk about it a little bit, because
Yeah.
I can't share a lot because we're debuting it next week at ISA in Orlando. But I will say the inspiration is back to what Will said just now. Time is money. And this is a thing that I notice a lot of people miss in the buying process, because everyone's like, not everyone, but a lot of people, especially people that are just starting out, they've got more time than they've got money. And that changes for you the minute you're successful. And we've seen it. We've seen people, buy a machine that has what I call low ceiling.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating, because the minute they get that first taste of success, they bang their head on the ceiling, because that machine just doesn't allow them to grow. It's not meant to scale. And it makes makes a very rough start for somebody, who's just starting out. And it comes back to that time is money. If I told you, hey, I'm going to give you $50, big deal, but if I tell you I'll give you $50 every 30 minutes, that might change someone's lifestyle.
Yes.
So it's that the time is the variable there. It's well, how long does it take? So if I ask everyone that's watching this right now, would you rather make the money you make today or twice as much? I think everyone will say twice as much.
Yes.
Am I right? Everyone's like, nah, I got too much. Or would you rather do that in an 8-hour workday, or would you rather do it in a 4-hour workday or a 6-hour workday? So, to me, I know personally what it's like to be time starved. I feel like, that's what happens. All of a sudden, when you become successful, you lose that balance. And you get, you go on this whirlwind of a tour, and you're getting pulled around. The money's coming in, but you know how many customers have told us that they can't even stop to enjoy it? They can't take a vacation. We just spent all our Amex points. We have a ton.
Yeah.
Don't ask me how many Amex points we have, but I didn't use a single one of them to do anything for myself. They all went to get a bunch of influencers to come out to this show. I was like, let's spend them on ISA. Let's get some people to fly out and come check out the new Redline series. And so that whole premise of this Redline series is, my goal is to just make this more feasible. Essentially, you can start a business, but it won't consume you, because we're going to redline this machine and we're going to operate it at the absolute peak of its performance, so that, you can still do very well, but not trade all of your time doing so.
I love it. You just answered it. I was going to ask you if there was something you could share about the name, and you kind of just alluded to the Redline in. So I was wondering about the name.
Yeah, for those who aren't, car people, but everyone owns a car. If you look at that little gauge, the one that doesn't tell you how fast you're going, the one next to it, it's got this little red section, and that's how fast your engine can turn with, safely, before it's unsafe. So,
Redline my 1994 Civic hatchback.
Yeah. That's right. So
that's great.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting. We're excited for you guys, and we're excited for the community, because it sounds like there's some fun things on the horizon. So that's great.
Yeah, the whole thing is really that. Our company, we're not a volume driven company. It's you see a lot of drop ship models out there, a lot of, again, bang for my buck. How quick can I get a laser? How cheap can I get one for?
Yeah.
And it's the quantity versus the quality, aspect here. It's two sides to the same coin. So, if you want good quality, if you want, something like that, it's, it takes time.
Yeah.
It takes longer to build these things. It takes, more time to, test them and go through all the things, especially the red lines, because we're pushing them, to the limits. When you start moving a laser faster, you have to reinforce everything. It's the same thing like with a race car. The minute you can't just drop a big motor into Will's Civic,
Yeah, I've upgraded quite a bit now. My Tesla can go a little bit faster.
There you go.
just a touch.
Yeah, that's great.
But your Tesla is probably very rigid.
Very.
That's a big part of it. So you've got to. These machines are heavy. A lot of people are always like, why are they so heavy? It's, well, we've got to make them rigid because, you know, we're pushing a lot of G's when we accelerate, and now even more so with the red line. I'm really stoked. This has been something we've been working on for years with the factory, and I can confidently say we have the best laser on the planet for running.
Awesome. And so I'm not going to pick you for more information other than you said you're debuting it at ISA. And what's the date? When is that?
It is next week, which I should know. So it's the 10th through the 12th.
Okay. So and after that, we'll be able to talk about it more freely. Yes.
Yes. After that, all the information on the 10th, everything is going to go live.
Okay.
Should, you know, and so we'll get to see a lot of things. And we even have, I'll drop just one more little thing. We even have a special one that we're working on. It's called the Signature Series. Again, we're heavily involved. You know, you've seen our building and our staff.
Yep.
You know, we're creating a footprint here. And you don't see much of that anymore. So, you know, we had to really think, what do we do here? Because, you know, this market changes quickly, and so does technology.
Yeah.
You know, do we chase everyone down to the bottom? Or, you know, do we raise the bar? And raising the bar for us has always been having some kind of US made a product. And our Signature Series is going to be a red line that we do the majority of the assembly here in the US with some really, really high-end US parts, US laser tube, motors, even our very own gantry that we mill ourselves in our shop.
Oh, that's exciting.
To get that extra rigidity. So we're bringing one out to the show, maybe two. It just depends how much we can crank out before then. But we'll have a Signature Series out there to show off, and there's not going to be anything else like it at the show.
That's exciting. And then, of course, Will, I'll let you kind of jump into this, but we've got another place that people will get a chance to see it in a few months, perhaps. So we'll ask him some questions about this new conference we got coming up here soon.
Oh yeah, we're excited. The Next Level Laser Conference, for those who don't know, Aeon Laser USA, EMP Corp are our partner sponsors for the event in Tulsa, June 28th to the 30th. And from talking to you before we got live, just, you know, the machines that you're planning to bring and showcase, if you guys are interested in taking a look at those machines and meeting the team, they're going to be there answering all your questions, giving you the rundown on how this can help take your laser business to the next level. Like Danny was saying, you know, you're raising the ceiling for us. I started with the Glowforge, so did Mark.
Yep.
And I just kept buying more Glowforges, thinking that was the way to increase production. You know, like, oh, I don't know, this is going to be too hard to learn. That laser is too big. I'm intimidated by it. And then when I finally took the plunge and got the Mira 9, like you said, I just wanted to punch myself in the face, saying, I could have did this before. I bought 4 Glowforges, and it can change the trajectory of your business 100%.
And I'll say, because I know that there's a lot of planning going into this, but for those of you guys who are coming to the conference or are thinking about it, I know that Danny and the team, they're going to bring several models. They're still working on how many to bring, but there's going to be several to be able to see in person. So if you guys are considering buying another laser or a new one or upgrading or whatever, this would be a great time for you to see some in person, and also to talk to some people who know about them, because that's important. And I'm excited for myself, because of course I really love seeing things I don't have. My wife's going to probably hate hearing me say that, but you know, I'm way behind Will though. Will's setting the bar for me for numbers of lasers. That's for sure. Angie, like, my wife's name is Angie. She likes you mostly. You're kind of a bad influence on me when it comes to lasers, but
I get messages every day from people in the community saying, you know, my significant other is really upset of your enabling. and then when their business grows, because we've seen people, you know, we've been in this community for years, and we've seen people grow their business from no laser to a Glowforge to an Aeon to multiple Aeons to now introducing fiber laser stuff. Then they look back and they're like, okay, he forgives you. This, you know, we just went to Disney World with the 4 kids. We're good. Thank you.
It's great. And you're right, Danny. You said time. We're talking about time is money, and would you like to do a 4-hour day instead of an 8-hour day? That's all really important as we all grow. Because you're right, some people are just working, open to closing bell, and I will say that in the life of an entrepreneur, that sometimes is required for a season, and that's okay. You did it, but I'm excited to see how companies like Aeon can help us do that. You mentioned when you were starting, you told us the story about meeting. I forgot their names, but when you met the guys from Aeon in the hotel lobby with Jason Dory there, right?
Yeah.
Will and I met for the first time in a hotel lobby. So similar story. We were at an event
2 years ago. 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago in March.
March 10th.
Yeah, wow.
2022.
You remember our first date? That's great, man.
Yeah, I do. We were in that hotel lobby till 2-3 in the morning with the event that we were speaking at starting at 7.
Yeah. Yep.
And
and we just the energy, just the synergy was there, and we said, man, because we had known each other online, but prior to that, Match.com, I think. No, it wasn't. It was
onlylasers.com.
But it's really cool in the community. In the communities, how you and I don't know actually how you met Jason, of course, but it is cool how people that are in the same industries, you can really make some great friends. And I will say, even being a customer of Aeon, I've made a lot of great friends through that too. So the community is really important to us. I know it's important to you too, and we're looking forward to this summer when we get a chance to spend 3 days with several hundred like-minded people at different levels in their journey, but being able to share that with each other and talking shop and just making more friends. It's going to be cool.
It's going to be great. And when we promise to put on a show. So
awesome.
if you don't have your tickets yet, are you still selling tickets, or did it
Yes,
sell?
we are. Yes,
Okay.
we are.
I'm telling you, you guys, I promise we will not disappoint. We still work around the clock, and putting this together and making something like this, it takes a lot of brilliant minds and a lot of hours.
It does.
We're going to bring it with us to next level. So that's going to be only the second stop we make on our soon to be Red Line tour. We have to set some other dates, but this is big for us. This is going to change the entire world of running a laser business as we know it. And so if you get a chance to get out there and get in front of one of these things, seeing it online isn't going to do it justice. You got to really get there.
That's exciting.
Won't disappoint. Yeah.
It's going to be great, man. Well, Will, any other questions you have?
Yeah, I'd love to ask this, just because, like we said earlier, you've built this amazing business with an amazing model based on, foundation of customer service, and you've been where we all started and think that we can never get out of it. In your entrepreneurial journey, what lesson or what piece of advice would you give to people who are just starting in this, for them to, like, what change for them? What advice would you give them?
Wow. All right. Yeah. Oh, all right. I try not to give advice for legal reasons, but I will say, I think if there's one thing I could say is, before you do anything, and this is not my own advice, it's just what I've learned from others. It's you should really define your why, first. And when you define it, push it further 2 or 3 levels, like, because being an entrepreneur it means you're going to work 24/7. You're just going to do it for yourself. And maybe you'll get to a point where, you can coast for a little bit. But if you really have it in your nature to be an entrepreneur, you won't feel comfortable coasting. You'll always be pushing and wanting to better yourself. And I tell people all the time, it's like an Olympic sport. I consider myself an Olympian at what I do, because your whole life revolves around it. So, and to do it, you have to have a really big why. It has to be beyond you. It has to be. And like I said, I was 10 years into it, and I was already going, it's good. I like what I do. I work from home, making good money, but it wasn't filling, it wasn't something that I would feel like I could, take with me and be like, wow, I really made a difference. And it wasn't until we got, into the business of basically growing other entrepreneurs. Like, I feel like that's what we do now. Like, our lasers are just, a means to giving
Yes.
someone else their financial freedom, or their time back, right? From their, because I tell people all the time, like, you can own your laser or it can own you. So, it comes back to just that full circle. You have to dig deep because you're going to be challenged and you're going to be tested, and that's never going to stop. I could tell you 16 years in, the challenges and the tests, they just get greater,
Mm.
and more and trickier as you go. And you've got to always have that really big why and that strong foundation to just muscle through it, and do it gracefully, so that your staff and everyone that's relying on you doesn't feel like you're crumbling. So
So good.
I
Yeah.
would say that's the big one. And don't listen to, there's a lot of people that are going to try to tear you down or discourage you. And it's not because they're mean. It's usually people that are close to you, people in your own household that are going to be the naysayers. And it's not anything personal. A lot of times, your enthusiasm towards something is just a threat to them, because they might not have it. So you might get it from your best friends being like, well, how's that going to work? And what would you do if this happened and all that? And, just treat it for what it is. It's just someone's insecurities coming out on you. And,
Yeah.
uh, and me personally, I actually get fueled from that. So if you could find a way to take that, if you have naysayers, if you've got, people that, when I started my first business in high school, so I was always, I always had that mentality. I couldn't stay in class. I was always like, no, let's just cut me loose. I'm ready. Put me in. Some of my naysayers that fueled me were even teachers, the ones that are like, oh, you never amount to anything, and anyone that ever just did you wrong in life, use it to fuel you. And you'll be amazed like how you can, just turn that. And instead of it, becoming something crippling, you can take all that negativity and truly empower yourself, and grow from it. And that's been a big key for me personally, has been, like the lotus flower, you take all that shit and you
Yeah.
turn it into a beautiful creation.
Yeah. Man, that's so good. I just love that, keeping your why in focus, right? That is so important. It is so important, because you're right, especially on the hard days, and hard days will come. Uh, Knowing why you're doing what you're doing will keep you focused and going forward. That's really great, because I can be honest. Throughout my life, I've looked up and realized that I lost track of my why.
Mm-hmm.
It's happened, and I had to refocus. And there were times when I had to say no to things because I go, wow, I am off track. I need to get back over here, over there. So that's really great advice. I really appreciate that a lot.
I
Absolutely.
think you touched on that earlier this week too, Mark. What was that saying you had on your whiteboard in front of you that you
Oh.
just look at all day?
It's right there. I can see it. Does my calendar reflect that I'm pursuing certain goals? Or conversely, what goals does my calendar reflect that I'm pursuing?
Be
Because
intentional.
because if I look at my calendar, sometimes it's telling me that I'm chasing something that I would tell you is not important, but my calendar says it is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I've been working on that lately, just to try to make sure that the time that I have a choice over, I don't have control over all of my time, but the time that I do have control over, they're going to be intentional. And that also means that some things get to fall off my calendar because they're not connected to my why.
That's right.
And sometimes those things or people sometimes have an opinion about falling off my calendar. Well, I get to decide whether they get an opinion or not, right? So that's really good, and I thank you for reminding all of us, reminding me. I need that too, for sure. I appreciate that.
Same. I was just reminding myself. So it never ends, and
No,
that's the thing. It's oscillation is a natural thing. We wake up one morning and you're ready to take on the world, and sometimes you wake up and you feel utterly defeated.
Yeah.
And maybe it's important to hear that. There's not a person I've met. They might pretend, or it might look this way on social media, that they've got it all, and
Oh.
that's not reality.
No.
This is this is entanglement. You become an entrepreneur, and seriously, you know, you're in for a treat. You're going to get a lot more than you bargained for. I promise you that. And a lot of times you're going to be like, what did I just do? It's going to take me, you know, 20 years to straighten everything out that I just did in the last 10.
Well, and I think, tell me if this identifies with you. Will and I talk about this all the time. We are, a lot of times, we're pretty transparent in where we currently are. And so we're sharing things. And sometimes people say, oh my gosh, you guys are so wise. I'm like, no, I'm right there right now. The words you're hearing me saying are things I'm processing. Like the fact that I said a why is so important. Why am I saying that? Because right now I'm struggling with keeping it where it belongs. You know, I'm not a million years ahead of people. You know, or if I figure out, keep my why in focus, ask me next month. I'm probably struggling with that again. That's just an ongoing thing. So yeah, being an entrepreneur is amazing, but it's a constant learning curve. And I also laugh at how many times I have to learn the same thing. Like, right? Because you would think if I could check it off, oh, I learned that. Oh, apparently I didn't. I got to do that again, you know?
Yeah. A lot of the things even the things that we talk about, or if we're coaching people or mentoring or having events, we're not teaching, we're just reminding. We just need that constant reminder, because sometimes we lose that. I was on a coaching call this morning with the lady, and she was like, oh my gosh, all this information you gave me is great. I'm like, I do it for myself too. I need that constant reminder, because I'm great at telling everyone else how they should run their business. And then I'm like, you need to hire people, you know, it's time. You need to buy some hours. You need to buy back some of your time. And then I look, and it's, you know, 3 a.m. at the warehouse, and I'm no power, and I'm filling boxes candlelight by myself
with no employee. Right.
With no employees. And I only have 2 arms, yet 15 lasers.
Yeah. Right. It's stupid, man.
Well,
Danny, what a pleasure.
Lasers.
Hey, I've had quite a few people come over to the warehouse on this side of the country who want to check out the lasers, and, you know, hey, can I take a look at what you have? And they see the lasers running, and they fall in love with them, right? Because like you said, when we talk about Aeon lasers or Redline, until you actually see it, it's a completely different animal. We can see the videos and we can ask questions, say, wow, that's real time. But when you see what it's capable of doing, it changes what you think you're capable of doing. It just raised that ceiling again.
I like that.
Well said. You know, come out there and check them out, meet the team, realize that if you're not just buying a laser, you're in a way buying into a family that's going to root you on, who's going to be that support, that's going to be your fan, that wants to see you succeed, because they're vested in your business as well. And we, you know, me and Mark have talked like you did, Danny, as where you found that why and that joy of helping other people grow their business. That was the main motivation for us doing these conferences, because the amount of time that we put into these events, then you look at the end result, you're like, I could have just went to McDonald's and made $20 an hour here in California. And, you know, but we have a passion for seeing people grow their business, and we have a passion with surrounding ourselves with companies and people like your company that also have that same passion. So thank you so much for being a part of it and supporting our event. And we're so glad and blessed to have you guys a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
And we are putting I know that Danny is at his company. We are putting a ton of time into this event. I mean, more than you can imagine. But our goal ultimately is to help you get together, meet other people, be encouraged, be strengthened if you're exhausted. We hope that in the middle of 24 that you leave this event with energy you didn't have before. Like Will always says, to run through a wall for your business, or I will say for your family, or whatever's most important, whatever why that needs to be refocused. We hope that you leave with energy. If you need some encouragement, if you need some information, if you need a product, whatever, we just want you to leave better than when you came. And if you do, then we call that a success. And so we're putting a lot of energy into that. And we hope that those of you guys who get there can experience that, because we think you will. We even have a dunk tank. That's the best part about the whole deal. Get to throw some balls at a dunk tank with me or Will. I accidentally said me and Will in it. I don't mean together. Although that
Yeah,
would
because
be
the
amusing.
seat is pretty small, so I don't know who would be on whose lap.
Well, and they may just drop me so I can stand in the water because I'm so tall. I don't know. Of course, Danny's not very short. You're a pretty tall guy, right?
Yeah, I'm up there.
Yeah. So I don't think we'll see Danny in the dunk tank, but it'll be me and Will
Oh,
separately.
we are getting someone from Aeon Laser. I've already talked to Martin. Martin's going in that dunk tank,
Nice.
and I'm going to be spending a significant amount of money when he's on there.
That'll be great. That'll be great.
That. Martin, it is.
Martin, it is. You can volunteer him. He has no choice.
That's great. Well, man, Danny, thank you for taking time. Your time is super valuable, and
Thank you so
we can't
much.
say thank you enough. We appreciate you. We'd love to, if we get an opportunity before the conference, we'd love to connect with you again if that's appropriate. Otherwise, we will see you here in June, and I'll make sure I turn the AC on in Oklahoma for you, if I can. We'll see. I don't know, man. We appreciate you. Hey, before you go, everybody, if you have not gotten a chance to find out some of the products they have, here's their website. Oh, sorry, man, I can never point the right direction. Right over here. Yep. But check them out. I think you'll be really pleasantly surprised at all the things they have. And again, services second to none. It's going to be great. And here in about a week, plus or minus, there'll be something new that you can check out too. So that'll be great. Danny, have a great afternoon, my friend. Thank you for hanging out with us. We appreciate you.
Pleasure. I appreciate
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'll send you my address to send that red line to.
All right.
We got it. We got your address, buddy.
All right.
All righty. Thank you so much, Danny.
Stay on for just a second, Danny. The rest of you guys, we will see you in the groups. If you have any questions for Danny or for us, drop it in the chat or in the comments there. We'll do our best to keep up. And if there's something that Danny would want to answer, we'll make sure that he gets a chance to see it. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you in the groups. We love you. Talk to you later.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.